Hello and welcome to the grand finals of the BCSS Provincial Ultimate Championships 2025. My name is Jonah Liash and I'm joined by Brian Gizzle, and we're going to be your commentators for today in this epic heater between Handsworth and Templeton.
Somebody said to me today, this is going to be the final. It's going to be Handsworth. Somebody called it at the start of the tournament and said somebody called it at the start of the season. No surprise, both Templeton and Handsworth handled their semifinals pretty well. We had that one on the stream earlier with Templeton taking down Burnaby North 13-2. At the same time, Handsworth took down South Cam 13-3. Coach of South Cam told me after that game he thought that Handsworth was maybe the best high school ultimate team that he's ever seen.
Wow. Glowing praise.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to. We're not sure what we're going to get, but I do think this could be the spiciest game here at this tournament, and we've saved it for the finals.
Yeah. Here's hoping. On offense, we have... I actually can't tell who we have. We have Templeton.
Yeah. Yes.
Out there, we have Callahan McCullough, Jack Ponton, the Bell sisters, a couple other guys. We'll get back to you on that. Jack Ponton with the disc in the center. A zone coming out the gate from Handsworth, really clogging up the middle of the field. See Templeton punching it through quickly and keeping the disc moving. Not letting this Handsworth zone set up too efficiently. Callahan McCullough with the disc, swings it to Jack Ponton. Chang coming under, picked up by the mid. And this is where it starts to get dicey. On the sideline with no real resets in the middle of the field. McKinney back to McCullough. Nice, easy backhand to the middle of the field to Bell. Back to Ponton, up to Chang. Little give and go in the middle, out to McCullough. Just past half field. Twice now McCullough with that nice little backhand out to the far side. Once again trapped on the sideline, but the mids from Handsworth not quite there. McKinney gets it, flips it back to McCullough. Back to McKinney, coming across. Chang finally gets it on the under. And Templeton are knocking on the door of scoring the first hold of this finals. Flick shot to the end zone. We have a goal from Daphne Bell.
And if we think back to that semifinal we watched, North came down with a zone first point, and Templeton dove right through it. So we saw the same thing here. Templeton taking their time just like the semifinal. They didn't seem flustered. The one thing I will say, the difference between this game and that, you could see the intensity level is higher than it was.
Yeah.
You know that Templeton knows that they need to bring their A game for this. They lost to Handsworth 9-5 in the Vancouver Sea to Sky zone finals. That's why Handsworth is seeded number 1 here. So they know what it needs to take, and that's a great start by Templeton, who's probably first game they've played in a while since that Sea to Sky that they're the underdog.
Absolutely. Templeton's coach, Carla Keffer, talking to us on the sideline, saying that Handsworth has more female matching players on the sideline than Templeton has on their team right now. Templeton down to 5 female matching players with 1 injury, 1 question mark if she's going to play. And to kind of keep their energy levels high and to keep the legs under them to not blow out too early in the tournament, Carla and Jeff Bell developed a kind of 2-4-1 zone. They implemented it yesterday, found that it worked, and they used it to incredible success in the semifinals. I think it's very likely that on this first point we're going to see it with... Yeah,
for sure. That was amazing when they told us before this game that was something that was kind of a new thing, not something they've been running with all season. So we'll see how it works against Handsworth.
Yep. Pull to half field, give them the defense some time to set up, and yep, it looks like we have it. We have 1 marker, another handler kind of assassinating the reset.
A little bit more of a match here, actually.
Yeah, a little bit more of a match. You might be right about that. Yeah, I think you're right. Number 12 with the disc. That's Michael Caddick gets it up line to Zach Bernardi. One of the Bernardi twins, a looping flick over everyone, and that's a Handsworth score.
I tell you, they weren't kidding about how many people Hansworth has.
No.
You got to be careful not to get run over by all the people running off the sideline when they score a point like that.
Yeah.
They got a platoon.
Yeah, just a wall of white jerseys taking the field.
That was good point. It might have been just a little junky at the start. There were a couple switches, but went into match D pretty quickly, and not a ton of room out there. They did jam it up the sideline a little bit, but also no pressure. Easy throws, and then the one to the front of the end zone and a looping score to the back corner. 1-1. We're knock on wood. We're getting the final of the game that we wanted to get. So we'll see who's going to blink on offense first. We'll see if Hansworth comes down with a zone again.
Yeah.
After getting beat on that first one, probably worth a shot.
I think so. From what I've heard, Hansworth likes this little arrowhead zone where they kind of have 3 deep and then 2 on the wings and then kind of clogging up the middle. And heard it from, again, Carla Keffer is my source, but they like to hold it to the death. They'll throw it on at the beginning of the point and they will get scored on still holding it.
Here's my back in the day story. Like, we zoned all the time, and I always said the hardest place to score in a zone is that last 10 yards, that last 10, 15 yards. You've got the whole end zone covered with your mids and your deep. The cup is running around, and said I never understood when teams melted out when they got close to the end zone. I always loved holding it to the death, as you say, right to the end.
Yeah. Big pull being fielded by Callahan McCullough to Jack Ponton. Ooh, little floaty one. Yeah, you can kind of see the arrowhead with the big mark and then 2 wings right behind them, kind of forcing the disc out to the sides, denying anything up the middle, but, well, McCullough will not be denied. Gets it to McKinney. They go back and forth, 26 throws in a row. Bell to Ponton. Looking upfield. No options. Nice. Upline to McCullough. I think they need to be careful here, though, because you can't get trapped on sideline. There, we get it through the middle. Back to Bell. McKinney. And they're slowing it down, looking for the shots, trying to find if anything's open. Nice looping flick blade over to McCullough. Oh, inside shot. Ooh.
And we got a foul call, I think, on the call, or they're calling that a goal. I think we're calling that Hansworth. No. Little confusion right now.
Okay.
We are calling that a goal, yeah. So that was uncontested strip in the end zone, which results in a goal. That was probably the lowest percentage throw of the entire point.
Yeah, that was scary. Defender barreling down.
Yeah, but again, for general, that was Templeton running their offense the way they wanted to run it. Said they got trapped a couple times, but managed to work it out. They had that series of give and goes. Shout out to Handsworth for not calling a travel on that. You see a travel made on that kind of play all the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. That was all really good. They were taking their time. They were catching, throwing with within 3 ground contacts.
Yeah.
Really good. And another great point. No blinking.
No blinking yet. Something to note, our previous games of the day were a little bit windy, kind of started as an upwind, downwind, turned into a crosswind. This game, just looking at the trees and the lack of breeze on my face, it's feeling a little bit less windy than I was expecting. And I think these zones are going to be less effective because of it.
You bet. Yeah, and great for pointing that out. Yeah, I think the wind, as what little wind there wasn't a ton, but it was definitely there, but it's died right down. You often get out here at Newton Athletic Park, where many an ultimate game has been played over the years. You often get later in the day, the wind kind of comes up. It's an interesting field because it's shielded partially. So you'll get wind on either side of the grandstands, but then a bit of a dead area in the middle. But I don't think there's any of that going on right now because there's not a lot of wind out there to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. Callahan McCullough with the pull. And flips it over OI. Coming back nicely. Picking up for Handsworth was Samson Wilton Geary. Over to Kaylee Chung. Tough mark there. Logan Lee, stall count rising, looking for an outlet. And stall down called.
Oh, we're gonna have a bit of a expect a contested stall count here. Was it off your finger by the time you threw it?
Yeah.
Certainly the Templeton player, from his look on his face, doesn't think that was close at all. But I can't see this going anywhere other than a contest. Templeton's trying to get the other Handsworth players who are off the field to confirm whether or not it was out of his hand.
Trying to
no avail.
Sweet talk him into making the call for him.
But here we go. Going to come in stall 8.
Yeah. Oh, just barely gets it off. McCullough with the mark. Russell Ferguson with the disc. Really looking upfield for a long time. Finally gets it across to number 20, Fiona Edgell.
Pick call on that.
Pick called way early on.
That receiver was very open. Usually when they're that far open.
You kind of know what's coming.
Somebody's got to mark up here or get together, figuring that out.
Fiona Edgell with the disc.
Here we go. Marking up now.
All right, we see Logan Lee in isolation with McKinney on the mark. Some stutter steps. McKinney does not bite. Flipped up, over the top, little German throw. Love to see that. Oh, stall count rising once again. And another German throw over the head to Michael Caddick. And this is... Wow, nice little backhand pop. Back to Zach Bernardi. You see another one? No. Back to Edgell. Bernardi. Up line to Edgell. So it's two-player game. Oh, slicing shot, but he drops it.
A great throw, great vision to see that over there. Really nice throw, just lack of concentration by the receiver. Can't blame the thrower for that. That was on the money.
Yeah. Great vision to see that there was an open lane, nice low shot. And Hansworth O-line immediately starting in a zone defense.
Back in that arrowhead a little bit. And that's really good.
Whoa. Big high release from Bell. McCullough has it, looking inside. And where I think this zone excels is when they get the disc on the sideline. So they have bodies coming over, they have the mids flexing out to the sideline.
You called your shot right there.
Yeah, I called my shot.
The sideline and they turned it over.
There we go. Not going to be denied that time. It's number 9, Logan Lee with the score.
So we see our first turnovers in point number 4, one by each team. In the end, it's a hold. That was again, Hansworth not panicking by making that turnover. I really love this. You said this arrowhead zone. We used to run a 1-3. 2-1, or what we call the rabbit. You had the one person on, but we had 3. Usually you have 3 people in the wall. This is kind of a modification of that. They have 2 people in the wall.
Yep.
And the mark is going straight up, so they're kind of working together with the people who, on the top of the cup, you'd call it. Very effective.
Yeah. No, it's excellent. And the reason I say it works so well on the sideline is the arrowhead. A traditional cup, you'll have a handler mark on one side and 2 other markers kind of in the cup, either on the right or the left. This arrowhead is the marker in the middle with one on the left, one on the right. And then when it gets to the sideline, suddenly the mid who's playing on that side becomes like the third member of that rabbit wall. It really kind of locks them in. And if you can't break the mark, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah. And that turnover there, that was a good example of it. Although I think the throw was there a little bit. They had somebody down. But again, it was a tough throw. It's a lower percentage. Couldn't quite get the OI to get away from the extra defender coming in. There's the turnover. There's the score. We're 2-2.
2-2. Pole goes up. Picking up is Jack Ponton to his best friend, Callahan McCullough. Yep, here we go. Onto the sideline. Oh, once again. It's those tight spaces where you have to be so cognizant of where the defenders are coming from, especially from the midfield. Number 17 with the disc. Up to number 10. Nate Bernardi. Looking. Claire McJanet holding the disc. Big ups. Oh, my goodness. Chang comes down with a beautiful sky. Back to McCullough. McKinney on the sideline. Flick blade over the top. That's what I like to see.
No wind, those throws can be really effective against the zone. Getting up there in the sky.
I agree. I think the flick blade kind of across the field is going to be a really deadly weapon moving forward because it gets up over all of the defenders but drops fast enough that anyone deep can't really come and help. Ponton with the disc. Up to Bell. Chang streaking into the end zone. Unmarked. Doesn't like the look. Pop pass to McCullough. Knocking on the doorstep. Handsworth not blinking, holding that arrowhead zone. Chang with the disc. Back to McKinney. Oh, fakes it. Now it's a fight to the front corner. Looping. Such good weight on that throw. Baited the mid in. Now it's a 6v7 for a couple of seconds here. Chang back to McCullough. Great flash from the defender coming across. McKinney with the disc. Into the middle. Beautiful shot. Bell to Ponton. Back to Bell. That's a score. My goodness, this Templeton team has come to play.
Again, another example of Templeton's patience, not really wanting to push it. They got that turnover again. 2 turnover point, but results in a hold.
Yeah.
3-2 for the Templeton Titans, and they are believing right now. They are holding right in it.
Yeah.
I think, again, we kind of mentioned it, the Hansworth have been the favorites all year. They're the favorites coming into this. You talk to people walking around this tournament, and they don't think this final was going to be that close. But Templeton begs to differ. They're holding their own 3-2.
I'm impressed by their composure, especially in the handler space. They are not settling for the trap that a lot of teams fall into, which is kind of forcing the shots into the end zone. They are perfectly fine losing yards for 2 or 3 throws if it means keeping possession of the disc and getting better position. Really, really inspiring to see from the juniors.
Yeah, they're both these teams, again, been impressed on both these teams, how they've handled a turnover.
Yeah.
It's easy to panic. It's easy to think we're getting beat. We made the turnover first, but both times they've got it back. The team that's turned it over first. Mm-hmm. And again, another good sign of maturity. When you turn that disc over the first time and you get it back, you don't have to panic then. You get right back into playing your game. And they did. And in both cases, it's been a hold. So good start by both teams. Good final so far. And here we go for point number 6.
Point number 6. Pull is up. What a pull from Bell. End zone to end zone. Fielded and flipped to number 20, Fiona Edgell. Number 10 with the disc, Nate Bernardi. To his twin brother, Zach Bernardi. Big huck coming up. It's going to hang. Number 1, Cartwright. Misreads it a little. Oh, my goodness. Take a bow, Claire McJanet. That was one of the grabs of the tournament.
That was up there a long time. We're going to give 80% of that point to the receiver and 20 to the thrower. Maybe wasn't the greatest. It was a good look. Not a great execution, but beautiful read by the receiver in the end zone. Blocked out. The poach D coming in trying to help. Couldn't quite get there. And it's point. So we're gonna put that one in the bank for saying that Handsworth has got that huck game. I think we said a little bit earlier in the semifinal. Templeton didn't need to huck it, and they didn't huck it. We'll see if they can match that huck game a little bit, or if they're willing to go to that kind of play. Absolutely.
This Hansworth team has some big receivers, and as well as some very capable handlers, which is deadly, because with a lot of teams, if they're huck happy, you can kind of force them under, and they're not happy, they'll throw it away. Or if they like to work the unders, you can force them out, and maybe they don't have the range. This team can go both ways, and that can be really difficult, especially with a short roster to keep up with, because you have to cover that much more of the field.
And I think we're definitely seeing that from Templeton again versus the semifinal. They are running harder in this game. They're having to run a little bit harder. Interesting that we have not seen the zone from Templeton yet. They're 2-4.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing it, and we'll see. Maybe it'll come out.
We'll see. Fiona Edgell with the pull. And you guessed it, the Arrowhead zone. And this is where it sort of becomes a rabbit wall, where you've got actually five players right in front of the... There it is. The over-the-top is going to be so key in breaking it through this defense. McCullough with the disc. Back to McKinney. Oh, my goodness.
That defender's still looking for that disc.
The fans love it. We love it. Travel called. Back to McKinney. Oh, you got to hit that swing. Can't be trapped on the sideline for too long. There it is. Comes out to McCullough, streaking across. Darwoon. Another blade. A couple more give and goes, and they'll be right on the end zone line. Oh, this could be a big gainer. Oh, doesn't like the look towards the far side sideline. That's all right. Through the middle. McKinney back to McCullough. Across to Ponton. Finds it in the middle with two defenders lurking. Little pop pass up to Bell. Looking to punch it in here. Handsworth holding the zone, not backing down in the face of the onslaught of offense coming out of Templeton. Wow. 5 backhand fakes, and the 6th one goes right through the zone. Big old kick spike.
Yeah, I don't think that disc got through the uprights there on the extra point try.
No.
From that. But again, Templeton just taking their time. You called it before. Those over the top. There was a hammer. There was a couple blady throws controlled, and that's slicing up that arrowhead a little bit. We saw just for a minute 5 defenders in a very close area to the disc. You look pretty trapped. One over the top, and boom, you're out and running. And I think Templeton really has a good idea on how to beat that zone.
Yeah. I think for the most part, at this level of Ultimate, you're not going to come up against many teams that have those nice blades over the top, those hammers over the top. Most of the teams are going to be pretty inconsistent with those and reserved when it comes to pulling those out. Templeton, no worries. They have 4, 5, 6 players on at any given time who can hit those over-the-top shots and hit them accurately. You throw in the fact that there's no wind, and it's going to be really dangerous and really hard for this Hansworth defense to generate enough pressure to cause a turnover. That being said, they're on offense this point, and one thing I've been noticing on the last couple of points is Hansworth struggling to get the disc off in a timely manner. The stall count has been rising. We've seen it hit 7, 8, 9 a couple of times. There was a stall down back on the second point. They need to move this disc a little bit quicker to avoid getting into those situations where they're looking for a bailout at stall 7 or 8.
So 4-3 for Templeton pulling. We're on serve.
Number 3 picking up. That's Sampson Wilton Geary. Again, stall count rising. 10, Bernardi with the disc.
And we've gotten a little junky here by Templeton.
Yeah, this is that 2-4 we were mentioning earlier. Nice little backhand high release. Handsworth stack, rather, setting up fairly deep. Like, they are 20, 25 yards ahead of the handlers, which makes it really, really hard to get anything going. Phenomenal grab from number 5, Liam Hadrell. On my notes, it says he's a multi-sport athlete who plays basketball. I can tell. Shot into the middle to number 18, Kaylee Cheung. Back to Bernardi. Up to Edgell. In the middle with the disc. Some big bodying on the defensive side. In the backfield, 18, Cheung with the disc again. Looking, high release. Well executed, Bernardi. And it really is almost like a dominator, like a 3-person weave going on. Oh my goodness! Catches it between her legs.
An amazing D. Elizabeth, unlucky that it didn't hit the ground.
Elizabeth Bromley, incredible focus. But unfortunately, the reset just enough there, off the hands of the receiver. McKinney with the disc, calling timeout. Huge opportunity here for Templeton to get the first break of the game.
Templeton had a player striking there on that turnover, but I think great choice not to throw it. The D close to the thrower was right there. That wouldn't have been the greatest ability to get a throw off. I don't think you want to spoil that one. That's a lot of good energy from the Temples to get the disc. You don't want to give it right back, and they've got it.
Yeah.
Veteran called the timeout. We saw that in the semifinal as well. Let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, a lot of energy to get that turnover. That was maybe a minute straight of defense before the disc finally hit the ground. You don't want to throw all of that effort away on a maybe huck by getting too excited. Although the fans were audibly disappointed that it didn't come up.
Look, as a fan, you always want him to jack it. That's the call. If you don't do that, you never want a timeout call either. If you're a fan,
Absolutely.
But the right thing to do, put my coach hat on there, I think, was not to huck it, and maybe even to call it timeout.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how dominant Handsworth was in the season coming up. So that's just to quickly recap. So they were kind of locked in at the number 1 seed of this tournament after being ranked number 1 for most of the year for BC School Sports. 1 Vancouver Sea to Sky, 1 North Vancouver City, 1 KSS up in the Okanagan, 1 rain invite. They went to North Shore Showdown, won that. How do you think they did at Valhalla?
I'm going to go on a limb here and say they won it.
Yeah, except they didn't show up because they weren't there because the Vancouver, North Vancouver cities were that Friday. So they didn't. That was the only one they didn't win, and it's only because they weren't there. That was a trick question. I set you up.
Dang it.
And obviously they've just driven through the opposition here at this tournament this weekend, beating Kelowna, Carolou, Guilford Park pretty easily, Mount Doug and South Cam. By my calculation, they've given up around about 12 points in this tournament so far, but they've given up 3 so far today. So we'll see how it goes.
Giving up 12 points over the course of the tournament isn't enough to lose a single game. That's outrageous. All right. Offense is set. Defense is setting up. I don't have to tell you, but they're playing zone. McKinney with the disc. Into Ponton. Wide open space for McCullough. You could throw it anywhere and he'd catch it. Chang. Streaking up line is Ponton. Doesn't like it. McKinney to Chang. Nice inside shot. Get some yards here. Yep. Little 2-man between Palanton and McCullough. Oh, cheeky little flick over the top. Get it back. And this could be a big gain if we get it to Bell on the sideline here. But maybe the coaches said, the arrowhead zone from Handsworth, very dangerous when we're on the sideline. Let's try and keep it off the sideline as much as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if that was in the manual during that timeout. On the clipboard, McCullough with the disc. Really nice shot. Gets it right to where Ponton can move with momentum going forward. Little blade. Up to Chang. Nice upline shot. He's going to find an inside. I think he is. Calling it now. No, finds the reset backwards. McKinney with the disc. Bell covered on the far side. Looking to throw a blade. I think that's the right choice. No one's covering Ponton. Flip pass to Chang. Ponton continues. Gets another flip right back. Knocking on the doorstep. What are we going to see? 2 players cutting to the same upline space. McCullough with the disc. Looking for someone. No options. All 4 players on Templeton kind of fanned out to the far side of the field. They need to get this disc swinging if they want to hit them.
That's the only thing they kind of haven't had this point is you look at that big open green space on the other side of the field. Nobody's been in it.
Yeah. And with the lack of wind, I mean, I'd love to see a hammer go up to that far side. Nice throw. I think this might be it here. Oh, little miscommunication. McCullough thought it was an upline, but Chang thought it was a reset. Unfortunate.
That was tough. They were just playing with fire there. They just didn't have that one outlet. They were dumping it all right, but they weren't getting the big one over to the other side, and it cost them in the end.
Yeah. Bernardi with the disc. Oh, little misfire to Edgel on the upline. Templeton with yet another chance to score, but they've got to be tired. That was such a long, grindy point of offense. A little bit of defense, and now they're right back at half. Ooh, shimmy, shimmy, yeah. Up to McKinney. A little bit of body from McCullough coming up line. Schenk streaking across. Oh, but the mid is there. Leaves the mid open, though. McKinney back to McCullough. Jack Ponton coming across. Pulls the defenders away. Allows Bell to get the swing there. Oof. Nice shot. Now, they have so many players deep, Templeton. And I guess that's what they're looking for, is if you have 3 players deep, those mids need to respect it and back off, and it'll open up space over the top for those little pop hammers, little pop blades.
You can see it here. It could really open it up if they hit the middle of the field right now. Like, they've got the player there. There we go.
Coming under? Oh, my goodness. Really, the Templeton team has their eyes on the middle of the field. And it's hard to blame them. There's a lot of space there.
That one, I got to agree with that travel.
Yeah.
Speed up when you catch it.
I'll say it. Liam Hadrill on the mark. Calling that travel. McCullough back to McKinney. Nope. Yep. But this is where it gets hard. Coffin corner. Finally gets it out. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Someone. Upline. Anyone. Please. Yes. There we go. That is a score.
And
calling it not in.
Oh, calling it not in. Hold on. Back it up. I got to take that mark off.
Some uhs from the crowd. Wow.
There we go.
Phenomenal cut from Max Chang coming under with max speed. Oh. Dangerous spike there from Templeton, but getting a little excited. Got a little bit chippy on that point. Several travels called. Quite a few turnovers. But with that, Templeton takes the lead.
They do, and that's our first break of the game. Amazing. That was good. I think we've got a timeout now here from Handsworth. Probably the first time they've been down in a game in their memory. I gotta say, it's probably been a while. So they're taking a set, and this is just Templeton playing their game. That was a good example of it. Even when they they had to back up, they got that turnover, they got it right back, and they kept playing that same game. We saw it in the semifinal. They're nice and calm. They're not pushing it. I thought, there's a couple of times when they flipped it to the far side of the field that they could have pushed it, but they didn't. But that was all right. Like, they kept control of it. 100% throws almost all of the time. They ran the Hansworth team down. I'm going to take it back. That wasn't a timeout. I think that was just a huddle.
Yeah, just a quick little rally the troops. I'm so impressed by their patience. I feel like one of the hardest things to do, especially at the junior level, is to reel in your players and, have them have the patience to not throw that huck, not throw that hammer, not throw that, oh, maybe I can hit it shot. And through 30, 40, 50 throws that point, Templeton remained composed. They remained stalwart in their commitment to hitting those resets, hitting the open person, not giving anything for free. I'm impressed.
Yeah, they're definitely playing their game. They're playing the game they want to play. Obviously, they've, I think to this point, and maybe I'll make me eat my words on this, they've holstered the zone. They're just playing straight up match most of the time, and it's working.
Big pull from McCullough, fielded by Edgel, up to Bernardi, who hits it too. I think that's also Bernardi. Back to Bernardi. Are we going to get a fourth Bernardi in a row? We will. Up to Edgel. Ooh. Sketchy throw between two handlers.
And we are back to that 2-4 right here. Just as soon as I said they weren't going to do it, they did it.
And it's working pretty well. And it's working especially well because Hansworth has such a deep stack. Their cutters are setting up so far away from their handlers, kind of working in a dominator set that the defenders don't have to do anything. And when the handlers go up line, they're running into, one or two players in their space.
It'll be interesting to see if Hansworth figures out the you can go over the top. You can throw the blades. You can throw the hammers because there's not much wind to try to defeat this.
That being said, this movement between the Bernardi twins is phenomenal. I don't think that was in. That was in.
But that's in.
Nice score. Number 17. Pardon me. Claire McJanet flips it to someone I can't remember.
So that was good. That was a good example. Again, they didn't go over the top, but their activeness in the middle when they got that kind of shot little throws out, they were all charging up the field. They put a lot of pressure on that zone. They couldn't be quite as static as they were against North. And again, mostly very high percentage throw choices, not pushing things when they weren't there. I thought that last give and go between the Bernardi kids would have gotten them into the end zone. And it was there, but they cut it off because it didn't look quite right.
Yeah.
A couple more throws later, they get the score anyways. 5-4 for Templeton receiving, still up a break.
Yeah.
But we'll see how this one goes. Again, Handsworth is going to need to generate a break. They've gotten the turnovers. They've just got to put it in when they do.
Compared to our semifinals game where that 2-4-1 zone was devastating, it seemed like Burnaby North couldn't do anything. The Handsworth offense, their cutters are way more active in the space. And that's making those Templeton mids kind of turn their shoulders, commit to taking a player, and when they're occupied because they think a cutter's coming under or a cutter's slashing across, they go and play defense, and then one of the Bernardis cuts up line, and there's no defender there to kind of stop their space. And so the up lines become so much more open because, well, there aren't defenders covering them.
And the point ends up being shorter because of it. You don't run into that. You have to complete 100 passes to score. They were a lot more active. Handsworth was in that. And they, it was still a bunch of throws, but it wasn't nearly as many. You're not taking as many chances on throws. North seemed to be happy to take a lot of the open short stuff, but again, 100 throws, you're gonna get a bobble here or there. They definitely drove it forward, Hansworth did. So interesting, great. I think both these teams are playing the style of Ultimate they want to play, and it's providing us with a fantastic game. Yeah.
Edgel with the pull. Huge pull. Comes down. Ponton fields it to Bell, to McKinney. Back to McCullough. Oh, and there's... Ooh, backhand blade over the top, right back to the middle. Finds Suki in the middle to Ponton. Back to McKinney. Through the middle to McCullough. Ooh, fakes the hammer. Doesn't like it. Ponton. To Liang. Flip pass. Wow, hangs in there in the end zone. Jack Ponton streaking up line for the score.
That was another good example. Kind of the same thing right back at Hansworth. They weren't going to take 100 throws to do that. It didn't mean they took a lot of chancy, risky throws, but they played fast, hard. They hit the open people when they were there. And in the end, another one of those nice little German flip throws forward into space. We talked about that earlier today. Throw those throws out in front and into space. Both of these teams are really good at running down those. And we're getting this game. It's 1 point from half now, 6-4 for Templeton.
Wow, electric.
That would be a shocker for everybody if Templeton's able to take half. And I think at that point you can see these games are actually the half is going to be at 8. This game is to 15 as the final.
Okay.
But you're going to shock a lot of people that it's this close, anyways, or that Templeton's in the lead. Maybe they're not the underdogs.
Yeah, I don't think they are. They are looking like the favorites right now. And I'm not just saying that because they're up by a break. No, this has been a great game so far, and I am very excited to see what adjustments, if any, Hansworth makes moving forward.
Yes. Speaking of adjustments, like for me, if I'm coaching Hansworth, score this point, I want to see them come down and play 1 point of really hard match D. Like their Arrowhead zone obviously works. They rely on it, but you're running into a team right now and weather conditions that make it hard for that to be effective. It's not being all that effective. Let's come down there. We've got a bigger roster. Let's run match at them for a point, see what happens.
Exactly. Ooh, disc catches an edge and rolls out of bounds. They're going to be starting on the sideline. Coming down with the mark is, I believe, Jack Ponton. Once again. McKinney stopping the upline. This is a tough position to be in. Loopy blade. I think he's going to get it. But wow, stall count rising. Number 17 with the disc. Claire McJanet back to Bernardi. To McJanet. Upfield to Bernardi. Hits it to Chiang. Flip. Ooh, into the middle. McJanet. Bernardi with the disc. Rat mark in the middle of the field. Doesn't want that. Oh, gets the slash cut. Jack Williams-esque cut upfield and then across. Shot. Oh, you bobbled it. Runs into the fence. This could be a huge turn if they can convert this break. Ponton to Bell. Hammer over the top. No worries. McCullough, they swing it all the way across the field. Can't quite find anything in the middle. Inside break. Ponton with the disc, looking. Gain some yards here. And another hammer. Oh. Loses a couple yards there, and they don't gain it back. Wow. Step out, big, flat backhand. McCullough with the disc. What's he going to find? Flick blade. Beautiful shot to Ponton. They have a receiver way in the end zone, way at the back corner. If they can move it up and kind of get it across the field, they might be able to hit her for a hammer. But my goodness, they are well-versed navigating these tight spaces. McCullough so fluid. Throwing and going. Finding the space. Boxing out. McKinney with the disc. Flips it to Ponton. Way back out to McCullough. Sees Bell, doesn't like the option. Really just bending the mark to his will. Maybe a bit of a travel there. Not called that time. Bell, really great backhand. McKinney to Ponton. McCullough in the middle. Some of these tight shots. Come on, Templeton. Work it in methodically.
Talk about your 100 throws. There it was right there. Great work. Like firing on all cylinders.
No kidding.
The Templeton Titans right now. They get the disc and they're just hitting it. Now I think we are going to see a timeout from Handsworth. I see the coaches talking, discussing it. There they go. They're calling it.
Wow.
Just having a discussion about it with Jeff Bell, coach of the Titans. So, yeah, we got a timeout. So, another break for Templeton. They're 7-4. Still 1 point from half. I think it's the adjustments. Like right now, if you got to look at the difference of this game, we knew that the Templeton Titans loved their 2-4 zone. But I think they knew with the weather, with the opposition that they're playing, that they weren't going to rely on that for this game. They came out playing match.
Yeah.
On the other side, I think we know Hansworth loves their arrowhead zone. It's worked for them, but they continue to stick to it.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great that it worked for you every game before this game, but from a coaching point of view, from a team point of view, you got to look at it and go, it is not working right now. Like I said, I think you got to get this point, throw down, challenge your team to play high intensity match defense, see what happens. Because they got to change something. They're down. They got to change something.
Yeah. One thing I think that this Hansworth defense has kind of drilled into them is not to bite. You'll see a lot of these shots through the middle, and there will be a defender right on the back of the person catching it, but they're not bidding around. They're not really jumping the lane to get in there. They're kind of like, okay, you can have it, and then stepping off and setting up the zone again. And I think they just need that little extra bit of aggression of wanting to get the disc and force the block rather than relying on Templeton to turn it over themselves, because I'll say it. It's not happening right now.
And it's maybe that's the trap of being the favorite team, being the team that everybody's expecting you to come in here, win this game 15-4 and a laugher. You think, okay, the turnovers are going to come. They're going to happen. We're going to win this game. It's good to be confident like that, but you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
You got to be the change you want to see in the world. And my change is we got to make that turnover because Templeton's not just going to give it to you. We see it so far. They're playing a pretty tight game right now. 3 turnovers so far in this entire game. No breaks against for Templeton. It's an uphill battle now a little bit for Handsworth. They gotta dig down. They got to come out of this timeout. Again, they've got the disc. And let's see what they've got. I think there's going to be a big telling point right here. And then the one after, should Hansworth score and they go for D, what are they going to do?
Yep. Something we talked about earlier in the game was the depth of this Hansworth roster. Significantly more players than Templeton. And over the course of a 15-point game, that can start to wear you down. You know, Templeton might come out firing early on, but will they be able to maintain that same intensity throughout the entire game?
Speaking of intensity, we got the wave going in front of us with the all the players watching this one from the stands here at Newton Athletic Park. Great to see. You don't see the wave here. We've got 150, 200 people in front of us.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff. It's good energy going on at Newton. So, you know, hey, it's a great place to watch an ultimate game.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
I could think of a couple places.
Yeah, maybe College Nationals going on right now. But pull is up. That is a big, big one coming slightly upwind. Who's fielding it? Who else? Bernardi. To Bernardi. To McJanet? McJanet. To Bernardi. Ooh, McCullough almost gets a hand on it. Oh, my goodness. Thought that was going to be a miscommunication. Nice shot to number 12, Michael Caddick. Oh. What happened?
That was just another miscommunication.
No.
Hansworth player was running by the person with the disc, wasn't expecting a throw, was just trying to get in the end zone. It's got a little flip pass and just hit her and bounced to the ground.
Hate to see it. I'm going to let the audience speak for itself here.
Oh, hold on. Foul on the throw there. So turnover in the end zone, but doesn't look like we're having a little conversation about it, about whether it was you threw into my hand. Really hard as a defender to think you're not moving at all in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, if it's contact with the defender's arm on the disc, you're probably moving a bit, and then it's a foul on you. At any rate, this is going to be at least contested, and we're checking it in.
Yeah. Hammer deflected. Wow. Football grab laying out with the pancake. Don't know how much you at home can hear, but there are people screeching like banshees in the audience.
It's not just us.
Calling a double team there. Nice flick blade over the top. Oh! Run through block from Lee. Great presence of mind to cut the lane. And that's going to be a hold. Bernardi throws it to number 12, Michael Caddick, for the easy pancake score.
So that one, after that last turnover, the thrower was kind of making that motion of you got to come to the disc, But I'm putting that on the thrower. The motion of that play was that your receiver was going away from you when you threw it. Really hard to stop that and come back, right? You've got to see that. You've got to see that poach as a thrower. You can't just automatically lock in. I've got a player. I'm going to float something up to them. Mm-hmm. That was the intensity right there that Hansworth needs to get back in this game. They made kind of a silly error on the end zone when it looked like they had an easy score. There was a little bit of disbelief. You get that, oh my goodness, everything is going wrong for us all day today.
Yeah.
But then they kind of locked it back in. They played some good heavy D. They got a hand block, which was called a foul. They got a block on a hammer that had to be an amazing catch to keep it up.
Yep.
They got the run-through turnover right on the line, scored it, got back in this game. And so now we're going to see what this Hansworth team has on D.
Absolutely. Any guesses what they're going to come down with?
My guess is it's going to be match. It's got to be match.
It's got to be match. We're pulling for a match.
taking a look.
Go out.
Big
Go out.
I don't know where that.
It's actually behind the commentary booth. I don't know. That was
I don't
possible.
know where that disc went out on the line. It was in for a lot of it, I think. So that is going to give Templeton a bit of a short throw. And my spidey senses are telling me that this is a zone again. Yeah, I'm just looking at where the defenders are setting up. I think it's going to be the Arrowhead zone with the one match and the two. So we're going to it. We're living or dying with it.
Yeah, number Suki Liang in the middle of the field. Pretty open. Calling for a hammer. Oh, she could get it here. Something over the top. No, this Templeton team's too disciplined. Bell with the disc. Hammer back to McCullough. Looking to regain some yards. Doesn't find it. Ponton wide open. Yep, jogs it up. Milks those extra couple feet. Into McKinney. Flips it back. And this is where they can gain some yards. When the zone is behind them. Really good to get it off the sideline quickly there. Bell's been trapped a couple of times on the sideline, and making that adjustment to hit the quick swing, I think is going to be essential to keeping this disc alive without having to throw a sketchy hammer over the top. Yeah, Lee once again ready to jump in if that throw comes up. You watch on this near side mid, number 9, Logan Lee. He is locked in, ready to get another block. He got it on the last point. Running through an errant throw upfield. And he is ready to jump on anything that looks the least bit floaty. Maybe not that one. Daphne Bell with the disc. Up to McCullough. Looking to get something through the middle of the field. Maybe a big swing. Oh, run through block. Number 17, McJanet.
McJanet has been all over this game for Handsworth. Great little run there. And again, just not the thrower picking up where the D was and throwing it right into that.
Phenomenal defense from Cartwright. Slips at the last second, but locked him up for 6 or 7 moves there. Cartwright with the run-through block. This might...
They're getting it back. They're getting it back. I said Templeton will not say die on this, on this game.
And we got some intel. Cartwright was supposed to leave at 3:40 for a lacrosse game. It is now 4:15, and he's still here.
Ultimate is better than lacrosse.
Well, I didn't say it, but I was certainly thinking it. Jack Ponton with the disc. Gets it back to McCullough. No options in the middle. Edge will clamp down on that far side. Gets it to McKinney. Sees Liang. Flick blade. What a great shot. Ponton to McCullough. Looking around to Liang. Flips it back to McCullough. Cartwright making some hard cuts in the end zone. Ponton doesn't look to the sideline. Playing a little three-man weave. Uh-oh, pops up. Oh, no.
It was too open and too easy. Just sometimes as a thrower, you take your foot off the gas a little bit on that throw. You just let it get up there, floaty, turnover.
Unfortunate. Cartwright. Oh, another floaty pass off the hands of McJanet. Fatigue starting to set in here, I think. Players a little bit gassed, being a little bit looser with their execution, leading to some of these just popping up over their heads, or over the heads of their receivers, should I say. Daphne Bell. Mark gets on nicely, gets the inside break out to Jack Ponton. Streaking up line. Ponton doesn't like it. Back to McCullough. Calm, cool, collected. McCullough. Fakes the hammer. Wow. They're not gaining many yards, but this offense is looking phenomenal. Oh! Oh! Bobbles it around the defender. Little Harlem Globetrotters magic. McKinney, no options. Finally finds it to Cartwright. Bounces off his hands on a diving catch.
Yeah, both teams are kind of feeling the intensity of this moment right now. They've had some open shots that have been dropped. Somebody needs to call a timeout, I think. But here comes Hansworth with the disc again.
Yeah, McJanet puts it out perfectly to Bernardi, who puts it out to number 12, Michael Caddick. This defense, no handlers, has to put up a huck. And this is going to be a jump ball. Logan Lee coming down with it and then drops it. The boys are barking.
I was just about to say, like, that's incredible positioning by the receiver, and he catches it, and as he comes down to set himself to throw, just drop the disc.
I was certain we were going to have a little foul call there, maybe a little shove in the back, but...
Yeah, I think he just reset it in his hand. Whew. And here we go again, another turnover. Hansworth kind of running down a floaty disc. Crazy point.
Yeah, this is what BC Provincials is all about.
This is what coaches hate.
Yep. Wow, Cartwright. Yeah. I would hate to be on the sideline coaching one of these teams right now. Cartwright is on Bernardi like, I can't say it. But he's tight. He's playing tight defense. McJanet with the disc. Coming across. Ooh, great body positioning from Bernardi. Making sure Ponton, had no shot on that disc. Woo!
Oh.
Great defense from McKinney.
And that was the eighth turnover of this point.
My goodness.
There was only 10 turnovers in the first part, in all the points before this point. Just to tell you what's going on right now. This is a bit of one of those epic points that nobody loves, but everybody hates.
And we have a timeout. This point has it all.
That's about time. About time for that timeout. So we got to reset on that. So this is, both teams, I think, have kind of gotten into the headspace of we're a little bit tired. We've got to score this point. We can't let the other team score this point. D has been ratcheted up by both teams, I think, a little bit. And O has been just a little bit soft. Like, we've seen how many of those 8 turnovers, how many were unforced errors? Like, we've had a bunch of just little drops, bobbles, overthrows. Somebody wide open and we throw over them. Somebody catches the disc and drops it as they're kind of setting themselves to throw. That throw there, a little ill-advised into, I'm not sure, into a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the O throwers. Like, if I'm a coach right now, I'm in the huddle and I'm saying, look, as a thrower, you need to lock in. You need, whether it's a 2-foot pass or a 40-yard huck, you have to lock in to what this throw is going to be. You got to give it 100%, because right now the throwers are giving it 50%.
Absolutely.
Everybody else in those points is giving it 100%. The D is certainly giving it 100%. We've seen Handsworth with, I think, 3 of the 4 turnovers were run through Ds on their part.
Yeah, they've really adjusted from kind of a passive zone set to a more aggressive zone set where they are pushing the envelope. They are biting on some of these throws. If it's hanging up in the air, they're coming and they're taking the disc for themselves. And they have the depth to do it. They have a lot of players. Logan Lee, I said his name before, but he seems to be one of their fieriest players. Bit of a smack talk in the middle of that last point with McKinney on Templeton, but they shook hands afterwards and maybe made up.
We're all
maybe
friends.
It was for show.
We're all friends between points, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I think the spirit of this game has been fantastic. We've had a few calls, but those calls were close. They've been contested without too much hassle. That's what the rules. That's the way the rules are written, and I think it's been fair in every case. So that's been really good. And a couple places where I think we thought maybe a foul could have been called and wasn't, and that's great as well. So just to reset right here, Templeton Titans with the disc, it is their point to hold. So, if they score here, that's on hold. But after quite a few turnovers already, and we'll see how many more to come.
Yeah, wind's starting to pick up a little bit. It's kind of downwind diagonal towards the sideline where the camera is, if you can picture that. And it might throw a bit of a wrench into this offense. So far, it doesn't seem to be. Again, Daphne Bell getting it off the sideline as quickly as possible. It wants nothing to do with that sideline trap. Slowly but surely, Templeton working it up the field. Losing a couple yards, gaining them right back. Flips it to McCullough. Back to Ponton. to McKinney. Up line, still open if he wants it. Oh. Flick blade. Yeah, that's going to be perfectly weighted. Coming under.
Oh.
Really great cut from Liang.
That was fantastic drive to the disc right there.
Yeah, saw that the defender was backpedaling and blew right past him. McCullough with the frisbee. Hammer over the top. Nice and easy. No worries. So much acceleration coming forward. Like, that was a pop pass where he caught it in line with the person throwing it, and he gained 3-4 yards on it. That's what you got to do when you're driving the line. It doesn't always have to be the disc going forward. If your body's going forward, you're going to gain those yards. McCullough with the disc again. Back to McKinney? Ponton, sorry. Nice shot across. Someone cut for her. Back to McCullough. To Bell. Here we go. And they're getting it across. They just need one more person in that space over there to kind of be a threat. Maybe not get the disc, but at least pull the defenders away. Let them find a shot into the middle somehow. Templeton being pushed back. Hopefully they don't get too antsy. Throw something ill-advised. Another hammer. There we go. Cartwright getting in the play. Oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Daphne Bell with the disc on the sideline, looking to reset. Oh!
Cheeky,
the sharpest blade.
Cheeky little throw there by Daphne.
Yeah. It's so nice to have a handler who has that in their arsenal and confidently in their arsenal. Can get you out of a lot of bad situations. Great step through inside break. McCullough to Ponton. Back to McCullough. To Daphne. Bell. Looking up her sister, Tessa Bell. Wow, they're pushed back. Back past half. Wow. That is so impressive. Jeff Bell, you have done a great job teaching these kids how to throw.
They throw better than Jeff ever did.
No comment. McCullough to Bell. Cartwright streaking. Ooh. Logan Lee ready to jump on that disc if it came up. Oh, Cartwright kind of on an island right now.
They're getting those outs all the time.
Yeah.
As you say, they're just the next one isn't happening. They're not panicking, which is great. Just need to be a little more active in the mids. Yeah,
and it's hard. We talked about this before, but having a deep who just kind of sits there and isn't active. You know, if Liang were coming in a little bit and making that deep defender kind of shoulder check every now and then, that could open up a lot of space. But just being way back there is, you know.
It's a little bit of a waste, but again, we'll go back to it. Templeton is not panicking, and that was definitely a travel. That was like 100%. You catch the disc and decide to step forward two spots.
You know, maybe their game plan is to continue swinging the disc until hard cap comes on.
When you're up, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. We've got around 40 minutes to the cap.
It's a long game of catch.
100-minute cap. Yeah, that's a lot of throws. That's 1,000 throw point.
At least. I think we've got to be coming up to 100 here.
Since the timeout, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thinking that myself. Who's counting that?
Bell.
Somebody go back in the video and count this one for us.
Remember a couple years ago, there was a college game. Dartmouth threw 350 throws in 1 point just to hold. Outrageous.
I might have gotten tired and just gone home after.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm not playing the next game. McCullough with the disc. Travel called.
They're being, Titans again. They're being really chill with it.
This is outrageous. I've never seen a team with this kind of patience.
Ooh. Thought about that area space, but I think the deep was just a little too close to it.
Yeah. And on these swings out to the sidelines, I mean, he was trying his hardest to stop.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. That one, he was just running, and I think he stopped as fast as he could.
Yeah. But, I mean, with the new travel rules, you just step back, keep playing.
Yeah.
No worries. No need to make a fuss. Oh, Daphne Bell, wide open, come on. Oh, that's a scary one where you're throwing it slightly upfield, leading into a defender, but just enough margin that it doesn't matter too much.
And kudos again for the defender not to think I'm going to lay out into this situation.
We've seen it.
Yeah, he wasn't quite there. He knew it, stayed out of it.
Yeah. McKinney to Ponton to Liang, streaking across, looking to score, and she flips it in the end zone. Big kick spike from Jack Ponton.
Crazy, and again, for a hold.
Oh!
But,
kick spikes it again.
Kick spike it again. We can kick spike it one, maybe not twice. But that is halftime. I believe we're going to keep kicking it before you can hear the crowd cheering them on. But that's halftime. So that is, again, a hold. Long point, 8 turnovers. But that's 8-5.
Wow.
With Handsworth pulling to Templeton as we come out of half. So that's, that point, crazy point. Two parts of that point, right? We had the first off the pull. We had the 8 turnovers, really frenetic play, back and forth, lots of big D. Turnover, our timeout was called once Templeton got it. And then we come out of that and we go, 150, 200 throws. No turnovers, walk it all the way down, walk it back, walk it all the way down, walk it back, walk it all the way down, and decide to score eventually. Great work by the Titans to kind of turn the momentum of that point from one of just crazy throw it, turnover, whatever, get it back, to let's play our game again. And that's what we just saw there. That's what they've been doing all day, probably all tournament. Be calm with the disc. Make those receptions, win the game. That's win the half here anyways.
Yeah. To have those big throws come up and those, the game start to get a little bit more exciting where the Hucks are coming up and the Ds are coming up, and to come out of a timeout completely composed is such a testament to the discipline instilled in this team. I don't know if it's a player culture thing. I don't know if it stems from the coaches. I would have to think it comes at least a little bit from the culture they've cultivated. But to be able to calm your players down like that and have them play like a well-oiled machine, my hat's off to them. It's not easy to do, especially when tempers are flaring like they were earlier in the point.
Now, we said, the coaching staff, not that the coaching staff for Handsworth is anything to sneeze at. The coaching staff for Templeton, 30, 40, 50 years of experience, ultimate experience. And they've certainly instilled that in this team. And I think that's also when a smaller roster works for you. Like, they've got a team culture and a team way they play. Everybody buys in. Everybody's involved with it. They're all kind of there together. They said earlier on, Carl had said to me, they're small but mighty. It's not necessarily talking about their stature, although they've got a number of smaller players, but the size of their roster.
Yeah.
And that's the small but mighty mentality. And that's what they've kind of got going now. So, is this we talked about this? We talked about this in terms of the lacrosse game.
Yeah. Cartwright, Alexander Cartwright, walking off the field with his backpack on, leaving his team to fight for themselves in the second half. As Carla put it, future lacrosse pro. So can't be too mad at him.
What's that going to get you? You could be a future ultimate superstar, and just think of the accolades that come with being that.
There's honor and glory on the line, and you chose lacrosse.
Okay, we can't blame him.
Yeah.
We can't blame him. He's going to multi-sport. I think we want everybody to be multi-sport athletes. It's good for the kids. You don't want to just do one thing. You could have done ultimate for another 40 minutes, but here we are. We're going to see how Templeton. I think Templeton again. I think this is small but mighty. I think they absorb that pretty well. If they keep playing their game, they're in a pretty good position. Again, they're up 8-5. They're receiving in this half, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. So you just talked about multi-sport athletes. I've got some fun facts for Handsworth here, and I'm going to read off all the players who are multi-sport athletes. There are a lot of them. Michael Caddick, multi-sport athlete who plays soccer. Olivia Del Piccolo, multi-sport athlete who also plays soccer and field hockey. Russell Ferguson plays soccer and participates in mountain bike races. Liam Hadrill plays basketball. We mentioned him earlier. Logan Lee plays soccer. Ben Malfair plays basketball. Finn Montgomery, soccer. Dara plays basketball. And Cassandra Young dances competitively. So a lot of multi-sport athletes on this team. And some people to look out for. A lot of basketball players. I think you can probably tell who the basketball players on how they mark. Usually, they'll be pretty handsy, pretty physical, and a lot of side shuffling, crab walks. Okay, we are getting into the second half here. On the line for Handsworth, we have the Bernardi twins. We have Liam Hadrill, basketball player. We have McJanet Edgel, number 27. Cassandra Young. And someone who is wearing an inside-out jersey, and I cannot see their number. For Templeton, we have number 13, who is not on my list. Number 22, Livia Morris, soccer player. She's a first-year player, just starting out for the first time. Pardon me, number 13 is Gemma Fast, also a first-year player, also a soccer player, I believe. Maria Darwoon, number 14. Number 5, Tessa Bell. And for male matching players, number 3, Kieran Ash. Mackenzie Ing, number 32. And number 91, Oscar Dugaz. And this is a line where only one player has seen the field so far, I think. Well, actually 2. Bell and Darwoon have seen the field. Everyone else is not been on yet this game. If they can get the block here, that would be huge. I think the mentality is rest the starters on this D point, get them on for O, let the fresh legs run. Disc spins, ooh, kicks it, gains a yard. Not enough boos from the crowd for that one. Bernardi with the disc, looking for Edgel. Hits his twin brother instead. Coming across, nice flip. Bernardi looking to score. Ash, gets scooped on the upline, and that is a goal. Bernardi to Bernardi to Bernardi for Hansworth.
Quick hold there. Interesting, as I said, you're talking about the using a few other players for Templeton. It's interesting, is that strategy? Are they going to expand a little bit on defense, go back to their relying on their core players on offense to keep the train rolling? They don't need another break. Yeah. They score when the disc is in their hand every time, and they win. So it gives them that ability to maybe rest a little bit more on defense and come out with a little bit more on offense.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They don't need to be running the D line every single point. They can just run it out, and if they hold, they've got a cushion. They don't have to be pushing to increase that lead and running themselves ragged. They can kind of collect themselves, play their game. They've already shown that they can throw 1,200 throws in a single point without turning it over, which is something that can't be said about most teams out there.
Yeah, for sure. I just see, number 13 for Templeton, Jenna Fast. One of those players, like Carl had said, started playing Ultimate in grade 12. Like not in grade 6, like so many of these kids today. New to the sport, but important part of this team. And her last name's Fast. She is fast.
Yeah.
She was all over the semifinal running down there. She knows how to cut, where to cut. She's got the hands in the end zone. Said Carla just tells her, make sure your check doesn't get the disc, and then run hard to the end zone and catch it. And is doing that in spades. Yeah.
See how it goes. A little bit of a false start there. All the players started running, but we had to have a female matching player pull the disc. It is, of course, number 20, Edgel.
Oh. Jeff Bell with a miss.
Yeah, That's
there.
tough.
We got to call him out. That was difficult.
That is tough.
It was
In
right
the Furious
there.
jacket.
In the Furious jacket. Couldn't get the disc to stop it from going to the pavement.
And now McCullough checking it out. Oh, my God. The disc is all scratched.
I'm gonna say it again, though. Handsworth coming out there with the zone.
Yep.
Again, we said they hold it in a point, ride or die. They're holding it in this game, ride or die.
Yeah. And I think one of the unsung heroes, hand block on the mark. I'll talk about it after. That is a big mark from Liam Hadrill and a big time block. Coming out of half, this is what you kind of want, build this momentum. Bernardi stutter steps, gets it in the middle of the field. Oh, puts it up. Blady flick. McCullough. Oh, not in though.
No,
A little bit too casual going for the block. Lets it slip through his hands instead of getting up for it. Bernardi. Pop pass to Bernardi. Oh, and this could be deadly. This is so hard to defend. To the front cone. Stutter stepping. Oh, but they managed to stop it. German throw over the top. Almost gets his hand on it. Jack Ponton. Oh, and puts him in the blender. Max Chang clutching his leg. Might be a cramp. Hopefully not. He has been fairly instrumental for this offense, this game. I was going to say earlier, an unsung hero. When that disc is swinging across, he has been cutting through the zone 100% every single time, looking to get the continuation pass.
And that's a really tough start for Templeton. They had a lot of momentum coming into halftime, up 8-5. Give up. Hansworth gets the hold. All right. Hansworth gets the first break of the game for them.
Yeah.
Pulling it back to 8-7. I have to say, like that huck to McJanet there, in all due respect to Liam Grant from Ireland, that was one buttery biscuit. Biscuit of a throw. Like that was just over the tips of the fingers of the male player who was poaching out on that. Dropped right down into her hands. Needed to be about 1 foot more to be in the end zone, but no panic with Hansworth. They pop it around the Bernardi twins, who are starting to hit their superpowers. We talk about the Bells doing that for Templeton, but the Bernardis are certainly starting to take over this game a little bit for Hansworth. Yeah, and they're going to have to. Templeton's going to have to match that.
So talk about those Bernardis, Zach and Nate. They are one of 3 sets of twins playing in this game. The other being Lucy and Olivia Farah, who are on Handsworth, and as we mentioned, Tessa and Daphne Bell.
And so I am going to go on record in saying that no ultimate game ever in the history of the sport has been played with 3 sets of twins. And if somebody out there knows different, keep it to yourself. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
That's just crazy.
It's possible. Yeah, we'll chop it up after this point. Right now we've got Templeton on offense. McCullough to McKinney. And after that hand block on the last point, I wonder what that does to your mental game. Does it get in your head? It's like, oh, number 5 has the wingspan of a condor, has the ape index of an orangutan. Is that going to start messing with me? What a beautiful hammer to Daphne Bell. Up to Liang. Another player who's been kind of flying under the radar because she's not getting as many touches, but when she's had it, she's thrown 2 assists so far. McCullough with the disc. Looking, drops it back. Number 12 really pinching in there. Michael Caddick. And this is something that Hansworth hasn't been doing so much. When they get this reset, they'll kind of leave the last person wide open. But that time, Michael Caddick kind of crept up with them and deterred the continuation throw. Beautiful shot through the middle. Euro stepping his way through the zone. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. To Daphne Bell. Yeah, Cal McCullough. Way open into space. But we notice Max Chang's not on. You'd normally see him streaking across the field trying to get that continuation.
Could be part of Templeton short bench. Need a little bit more rest, maybe a cramping issue.
Yeah.
So they got to make do. They've been doing it all year with a short roster. Let's see how they do.
Yeah. Great fakes from McCullough. Kind of looking one way and then snapping into position and throwing it right through the middle of the zone. So important. Such an underrated skill is using your eyes. Where you're looking is going to dictate where the defense is setting up, and if you can get them to shift over just a couple of inches, you can punish them by getting them when they're off balance. McKinney, wide open. Jack Ponton in the middle. Nice. And coming across. Oh, number 11, Bernardi. Jump in the lane there. Scaring the thrower. Ponton. Back through the middle to McKinney. Over to Daphne Bell. She wants to get it off the sideline quickly. Does it. McKinney to McCullough. Man. Liam Hadrill running ragged out there. Jumping on every lane. Taking every mark. That basketball conditioning paying off. Through the middle. McKinney with the disc. Back to McCullough. Now Liang upfield, pretty open. Wow, right back through the middle. Does he find it? No. Looks for the easy shot. This is good, boring ultimate.
It's good, boring ultimate.
Yeah.
Love boring ultimate.
When I played on UBC back in 2020, playing against zones, we had a mantra: boring, boring. We tell ourselves, because you don't want to be the guy who throws the really aggressive scuba and ends up turning it over. Oh my goodness.
Again, you almost called your shot on that one. That was not the best throw, I'll say. We kind of say, we have a saying, just because it worked doesn't mean it was a good idea. I think that's one of those ones that was a little floaty, a little slow. I thought maybe the D was going to come down with that after that 150 throw point. Yeah. But it was enough. The offense did get up there and pick it out. They stopped the mini run.
Yeah.
With a nice, easy, clean hold. 9-7.
Excellent grab from Oscar Dugas for his first point of the game. Good composure to just kind of hold your ground. You know you're going to high point it, jump for it. And I want to say really good on the defender for not taking his legs out. He was kind of backtracking, made sure on the defensive play that he wasn't just jumping blindly into space. He saw that there was a defender in position, realized he couldn't quite make the play he wanted, and didn't result in a foul.
Yeah, I think from a physicality point of view, this has been a really clean game by both teams. There's been a couple situations where a D was kind of pursuing a reception, trying to get in there, but then knew they weren't quite there in time and pulled back. And that's when you can see a lot of big injuries, especially when you're playing mixed.
Yeah.
You can get some disparity on body size and composition. But both teams have been playing it really clean, which is not to say we haven't had a lot of intense D. We've had a few really good layouts, a lot of run-through blocks, which has been clean. So that's good. So, here we are, 9-7, game to 15. Caps in about 17 minutes or so.
Wow.
So, it's getting late early here in this game for Templeton. And Handsworth got to be thinking they can't give up a break. They got one back, which is great. They got to do more. They got to generate a break, but you certainly can't give up another one.
Yeah. I think one more break given up could be, I wouldn't say the nail in the coffin, but it would be really bad for them.
We've certainly got the nails out of the bag. The hammer is in our hand if we're not actually snapping it down.
Exactly. All right. This 4-2-1 zone coming out. Now, I don't know if this is going to work necessarily. The Bernardi twins are just so big. And even if you do get one of your defenders on them, they can kind of just hit them into space. No worries. You throw a high one up where the defender isn't, and it's hard to contest. That being said, they are pushing them back pretty well right now.
We've got, I don't know if that was a knee, hip, ankle, or back. Just came down awkwardly with the disc. Looks like a knee. He's...
Oh, no. Cramp.
Cramp. Okay, so...
Thank goodness.
So, again, I wasn't quite sure the way he was holding every part of his body, but it looks like
Yeah.
it just ended up being is a calf cramp there.
I think he was like on the verge of cramping, when it's like you could feel it coming. You're like, don't move, don't move, don't move. And then he kind of like put some weight on it and just collapsed.
All right, here's our helpful hint for everybody listening out there. You got to hydrate.
Yeah.
But you got to hydrate early.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that kids learn, high school kids learn. They come to tournaments. They've got the Gatorade bottles. They've got all the stuff. But you got to start hydrating the night before.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you're not hydrating the day before, if you're not getting yourself into that spot, it doesn't matter how much you're drinking on the day. You got to drink on the day, but it doesn't matter. You're going to run into problems. So
It's easy to hydrate. It's impossible to rehydrate.
we don't have the sound effect, but that's the more you know.
Yeah.
Right there. All right, I think he's worked through the cramp.
He's playing?
Yeah,
He had people working both of his legs, and he's staying out there?
there you go.
That is... And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like the Bernardi twins have been working so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Can they sustain it for the game? And, it's really hard when one of your key handlers is cramping up.
Something not sure.
People are laughing. We're not really sure what's going on. I'm going to take off my headphones and listen for a second.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just a violation on the start again. Again, we're still talking about now we're consulting coaches about rules. I don't know if they're talking about. No, okay, never mind. I think they're all good now. They're back in it.
Cool.
We'll never know what that was.
Yeah, and we're not going to ask. Bernardi. To Bernardi. To Bernardi. To Caddick. To Bernardi. To Bernardi. On the sideline here. This is a dangerous position to be in. If this mark fully wraps, that could be trouble, but gives up the reset. Oh! Throws it a bit too hard for his brother. Sails out of bounds. Cal with the disc. Handsworth setting up this zone offense. And both mids kind of clamping in, ready to jump on anything that comes out over the top. Liang to McKinney. And Max Chang back out there. We like to see that.
Max is out there, but most of their other starting,
Yeah.
They've got a couple of their starters out, but a lot, at least 3 or 4 who have played very sporadically in this game.
Yeah, no Ponton and no Bells.
Yeah, which is, this must be one of the first points where that's been true.
Whoa.
But now we have a 10 count. We're going to have a bit of a. I don't know if there's a question of also whether or not there was a foul on the throw when he was changing hands. Somebody ran through at the same time.
It looked like a lot of. Whoa, that was crazy. Was that an upside down backhand?
Yeah, that was just a kind of I'm holding it this way.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it over there.
Where's he going? Yeah, that's a tight shot.
Ooh.
Great grab from McCullough. Logan Lee in the picture, not quite getting it. McKinney
and McCullough got to feel they have a lot of pressure on them in this point.
Yeah.
But, on the other side, if Templeton can punch this in for a break with the players they have on the field, that's almost a double.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, if Templeton scores this, that's going to be like a weight lifted off their shoulders. A little bit of breathing room. Liang with the disc. Nice backhand around. Really, I think the unsung hero of this Templeton team is Suki Liang.
Yeah, I was going to say Liang's the other one, another one of the kind of starters who's been out there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Who they're going to have to rely on the disc going through her a little bit as well at this point.
Yeah, and whoa, no way, that was a crazy hammer.
It was a nice try.
Yeah.
Just a little ambitious. Like you get, I think they got to keep playing their game there.
Yeah.
They were forcing the disc all over the place. Right there, that was a low percentage throw, resulted in the turnover.
Yeah. Michael Caddick with the disc, pops up a high one. Bernardi comes down with it. Nothing much developing upfield. Oh, wow. Sharp shot. Oh, my goodness.
I think that was a situation of you're trying to get into the end zone. You're not focusing on the catch. You're trying to just toe it back the one more inch you need. Catch the disc, catch the disc, catch the disc. That's what you need to do. Worry about where your feet are afterwards.
That's unfortunate. Could have been a big swing for Handsworth. Would have been there a break? No, that would have been a hold.
No, it would have been a hold. This is the break for Templeton that, again, if they get it, maybe it's the only one they need. We're now 10 minutes from cap.
Yeah.
So a long point resulting in a break. Not calling a foul on that. I thought maybe it was still in his hand, but it wasn't. Obviously, he didn't think so.
Michael Caddick gets it back after that drop. Bernardi throws it to Logan Lee for the score. The Handsworth hold.
So that's a good hold for Handsworth. A little lucky there right at the end. Again, I think that's a bit of a pressure of the lineup that Templeton had. No problem. Like, that's obviously what they've got to do. No accusations. Like, they've got to rest a little bit. They have that shorter roster, and that was one of those defensive times when they had a few different people out there. They were running hard. They got the turnovers. They got 2 turnovers on that. They just couldn't convert it to a break, which again would have probably put the stranglehold on this game. But instead, we're 8-9 with 10 minutes left until cap. Hansworth pulling to Templeton. We're definitely going to see the bells and all the usual suspects on this.
Yeah, the bells and whistles on this line. We have Jack Ponton, Maria Darwoon, Tessa Bell, Daphne Bell, Callahan McCullough, McKinney, and of course, Suki Liang.
Yeah, there's one of these games. Definitely, it's going to be remembered. It was supposed to be a blowout. The team that doesn't win this is going to be heartbroken. Probably, I want to say that Hansworth would be more heartbroken, but I don't think that's true. Like, I think Templeton believes in themselves so strongly. They never thought they were an underdog. That's certainly not their team culture. They're not going to go woe is me because they're playing the perceived number 1 team in the province. They're out here to win it, and they're in the lead with the disc.
Tessa Bell in the middle of the field. Her sister Daphne on the sideline. What's she going to find? Another hammer. She is so good at those. I almost don't think she can see her receiver behind the mountain of a mark that is Liam Hadrill.
And yet the disc just comes out right to the receiver.
Oh. Yeah. Don't get baited into thinking that over the top is there. The deep. Bernardi.
It looks so juicy on the other side of the field, though. And there we go. We're going to hit it.
Wow, that's a great shot through the wall.
Better choice.
A little pop pass. Gain some yards. Get it up to McKinney. Tries to fake out the mark. It's just nice. They're just playing catch in the park. Blady shot over the top. That is no worries. Yep, up line. Oh! Steezing on him. Jack Ponton from his best friend in the world, Callahan McCullough, on just the floatiest little up line.
That's some really good work again. Not taking that same hammer that caused a turnover 2 points ago. Taking your time, playing Titans ultimate. They finally did get it to the cross, to the seam, up the far side. They were off and running after that. And then, again, say it over and over again, throw to space.
Yep.
A nice little, it would have been a tough throw to try to throw right to the receiver there in the end zone. But it's an easy throw to float it into the space in front. Defender was beat to the line. Easy and you could see he milked that one for another 3 or 4 yards in the end zone.
Yeah.
Big catch. Point 10-8. Now we're closing in on cap. 7 minutes or so to cap. And again, anybody's game. I'm not saying the Titans have wrapped this up by any means, but I'm not saying that they're not full value for getting the win here.
Yeah, and this is the hardest part. You got to hold your composure all the way to the end. I think Hansworth maybe feeling the time pressure could play a little bit more aggressively, looking to just set up some hucks, get it deep as quick as possible. They have Hadrill on, who I don't think has seen many O points this game. I could be wrong. I've been so locked in watching the Bernardis throwing it to each other that I
we got another cramp, I think, for Titans.
That's Max Chang.
Yeah, no,
that's a big loss.
He's hobbling. I don't think he's gonna be able to just massage it out and get back on there.
Yeah,
Ponton's coming on.
Yeah, Ponton's on. Got an old school Vikes jersey, circa 2012, 2013. Oh, that's a Blair Underhill jersey. How'd he get that?
That's worth $3.
That's worth probably less. Bernardi to Cahill. No, not Cahill. Sorry. Haydrill. Oh, little flip pass. Somehow stays in the hands of number 10.
And big
Nate Bernardi. Big Huck goes up. McKinney with the block. He can't believe it. He's tapping his head. Big man's got to eat.
That was great, D. Great staying with it. That was a 50-50 disc. And defense did everything they needed to do to get just a finger on it, knock it away.
Yeah.
Templeton's off and running.
Oh, and we're unleashing. I see a Daphne Bell streaking. Gets it. 3 black and red shirts around the disc. And hardly a Handsworth defender in sight.
And there's your break back by Templeton, taking the lead now 11-8.
Wow.
We kind of said that they needed one more break to kind of nail down this win. Was that the break that nails down the win?
I think it could be.
It's pretty darn close. And that was a good, I love the fact that the Titans have played a really controlled game and they haven't, chucked it out there too much. Mm-hmm. But in that situation, the D was still getting back together. They were streaking down the field. They had a bunch of bunch of receivers down. Great shot.
Yeah.
Bell ran right under it, took control of that disc, scored it with no more questions about who's going to get it and take Templeton up. Amazing results so far. Again, they're up 11-8 so far. We're honing in on Cap, and there's just a bit of disbelief. I think after that point, for the first time, I'm looking at Handsworth, and they're looking at each other, and they're going, "What is happening? What is happening?"
Yeah. How did we get to this point? Huge pull goes up. The Bernardi twins in the backfield with McJanet. And again, 25 yards of separation between the front of the stack and the handlers. They know they have to get back into this. They know they got to score quick. They put it up. Big block from McKinney. Take a bow, young man. Number 2 has been all over the deep space this entire game.
Is that 2 in a row? Is that again?
Yeah.
That was again. And you said it exactly right. The time pressure has gotten on Handsworth. They know they can't play a 5-minute slow point here, and a timeout called. And there's a veteran
gamesmanship.
There's a veteran call I saw, that's coming straight from the coaching staff, knowing the time situation. Look, that's the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Right? You're in the lead close to the cap. It's because you've scored more points than your opposition. You get to take that timeout before the horn blows, and you can't call a timeout. Some people call that a little questionable, but that's perfectly within the rules of this. And, you knew that kind of came as soon as that turnover happened. They were communicating with the sideline going, this is a timeout, this is a timeout.
That's awesome.
We're milking points. We're waiting for that horn to go off in about 2 minutes. And I think it's after that, it's next point, end of game, which right now means a title for Templeton.
Yeah, it's seeming like it. Won't count anyone out yet, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to come back from this.
That's an epic. In these situations, they're hugging. The Titans are hugging each other on the sideline. In these situations, when you're not expected to win, when this is the biggest moment, nobody gave you much of a chance, and you come out there and from point one, you execute your game. The Titans didn't blink. They were playing their offense. They weren't making the silly turnovers, save 1 point. That was a little scratchy by both teams. But they just in general were playing hard. I wonder now, it's interesting. Handsworth goes into a match defense now.
Yeah.
Now.
When they need to get a block, they don't have the luxury of time. They need to just put the pressure on.
But to me, interesting. Does this end up just being a huck? But it's not. They're going to work it a little, which is good.
Yeah. I'd like to read off. Oh, never mind. You're right. It is just a huck. Going up.
Oh.
Wow. Runs it down. Gains some extra yards. Falling over. McCullough. The coffin.
And that is it. That is it. That was definitely a bit of a throw. We're going to huck it down there. We don't want to give up a short point. But, Templeton again with the break. And
that's game.
And that's game. Is that game? It
looks like
I think they're unsure. There's the horn now. So we're probably not going to play this next point. I don't know if the coaches are going to, per the rules, you would play the next point, but it's 12-8. There's no way for Handsworth to do it.
Yeah, they're calling it off.
No, they are saying we're gonna. I'm not. I think they're saying we're gonna play.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We're gonna see what the.
Yeah.
We're gonna see if the people. It would be nice here. This is at the end. No, I think you're right. I think they did call off the game, and that's it. That's it. It is over. 12-8 for Templeton, shocking the world.
Yeah.
Beating the as yet undefeated Hansworth, who lose one game maybe in the entire season. And it's the biggest game of the season, beaten by the Templeton Titans, who were full value for it. Handsworth didn't give it to them.
No.
Templeton came out and took it.
I'd like to read off some notable placements from the last couple years. Handsworth Secondary School, 2023 North Shore Champions, 2023 Vancouver Sea to Sky Champions, 2024 North Shore Champions, 2024 Vancouver Sea to Sky Champions, 2024 BC Provincial Champions, 2025 North Shore and Vancouver Sea to Sky Champions, and they were taken down by the Templeton Titans.
That's just an amazing, that's why we play the games. They're played on the field, not on the paper, not on the statistics. Amazing, amazing game. Really clean game.
Yeah, my goodness.
I think you ask people, they say, what's a typical, you get into a high school gold medal game between two teams that really want to win. Does it end up becoming a call fest, a chippy affair? There were a few kick spikes here and there. There were a few calls, but I think the calls were all adjudicated really well.
Yep.
There wasn't any crazy injuries because of contact. Both teams, kudos to both teams for playing that, and full value again for the Templeton Titans coming in, taking out the Giants of Handsworth. It's going to be tough, but we know as people have been around Ultimate for a long time that there's so much more Ultimate in front of these players than there is behind them. And I think everybody on both teams, we're going to see on university teams, on high school teams for the grade 11s, on Team Canada teams, at juniors, at U24s. Dare I say, is there somebody playing in this game who's going to be playing for Team Canada at World Games in the future?
I think maybe.
I think that's a good bet. There's already interest from Traffic, from Furious, from the senior teams and players on these teams. So we'll see them all again. But for now, it's the Templeton Titans with the victory over Handsworth, 12-8 in the AAA Provincial High School Championships. That was a good game.
That was a good game.
Really good. So good. So good.
Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Get right going.
We still live? I'm just staying wide, so.
We were saying this game was amazingly well played. There was a couple of situations where that could have happened, and the D pulled out, like wasn't there in time, didn't cause the contact. Really good by both teams. Both teams played really well.
There's a couple underheads this game.
Yeah. That's. But he got up though.
Oh yeah, he got up. Yeah, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have.
The team that was supposed to create it goes to Walnut Grove. They've
we're never coming back again. What? All of you guys are gone. I don't think I'm going to get up. You're on the O-line next year. I'm going to be on both lines. You'll be the OD line.
And this year, 25, AAA, BCSS goes to the Templeton Titans.